Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. There he is. What is going on? Great to see you. It's been days since I saw you last. Super exciting. We'll talk a little bit about the Bitcoin 2020 conference as far as much as we'd seen with the Alex Mashinsky Celsius AMA, which was really cool. We're going to talk today about XRP, when Flare. Actually, we're going to talk a lot more about DeFi, crypto, XRP. And did you know that DeFi plus crypto equals freedom? And it is life-changing technology. We're going to talk about that and a lot more whenever Chip's ready to kick this thing off. So let's all kick back and wait.
Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Yo,
Jeff,
Yeah,
Jeff, I loved your open, except I do have to correct one thing you said. You said we went to Bitcoin 2020. We actually went to Bitcoin 2021.
I don't know. So, it was 2020.
It's close enough.
2020.
Boy, wow, Jeff, that was like
2021.
And what an event it was, And we were fortunate enough to get to go down there and hang out at a private event. It was for Celsius.network, and of course Alex Mashinsky was speaking, doing a live AMA for a little bit until I think the lawyers told him to cut it, and it went into private mode. I shared it with there were people like, "Hey, it's in private." I was like, "Oh, well, what are you gonna do?" And then I got to go up and talk. Then I got to go up and talk to Alex, and on the pseudo stage, if you will, ask a question with a microphone, and it was great. I said, Alex, it was so great that you did our podcast. And he's like, yeah, I think I was on there 3 times, right? I'm like, you were. And also cool. It was cool seeing, just meeting up with fellow Celsians and just like the positivity that was coming out of that room was very different than what was going on 3 blocks away at Bitcoin 2021. Jeff, Jeff and I kind of like saw, right? A totally different crowd. We saw people filing in and out, and just the way people were acting, carrying on. I mean, I don't know. It was kind of sad. And, it was like actually a YouTuber that my wife follows from Argentina. And she took a lot of flack because someone didn't like her t-shirt. It's like, you could go almost anywhere else. Funny thing was, remember, Jeff, I said, I think I'm going to wear my Ripple, my Ripple XR, this one right here. Let's see, it's over here somewhere.
And then we changed our minds.
We changed our minds. I said, you know what? Probably not the right crowd for that one. This is what our merch store. It's like the Empire Strikes Back, which Ripple Strikes Back. The SEC wars. And I said, you know what? I just don't need people hassling me.
That's it. And that was definitely a concern. You go down there around all those Bitcoin maxis, but I'll tell you what, being there with the Celsius crowd. Really, really cool. Alex Mashinsky, super cool guy, really down to earth. Obviously, we've seen that same personality when we had him on the show, but seeing him in person, same exact personality, really great. And even, the guests that he had over there, I had mentioned a bit yesterday, Chip, that the mayor of Tampa was there, and we're going to try to get her on to talk about cryptocurrency. And I don't think I mentioned, but you and I had a chance to sit down and speak with Curtis Wang, CEO of Vitru, and we got to meet him in person, for the first time. And I thought that was outstanding. There's a guy, running a major international exchange, and, he has time to spend with us. So I thought that was outstanding.
Well, I thought it was just serendipitous too. Like we were going to go grab something to eat, and then we jump into the car, and then his email pops up and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm in Miami." It's like, what? And then, it was a matter of he was on his way to the conference, and it really turned out pretty cool. It just shows you he's a pretty cool guy. And I mean, look, we're just two podcasters, if you will. We're just putting this little show together on the chain, whatever. And he was cool. He went out of his way to meet with us. I thought that was like outstanding and just really cool to hang with him. He's a fun guy. It's just like anything, Jeff, this pandemic, being closed down, it's all great. We can do this video and everything's on Zoom or, we use Google Meets, but you know what? Just to like, hey man, how you doing? Doing all right. How you doing? Like, it's like, he came up to me, hit on the shoulder, and like, hit him back. It was just kind of fun. Like, hey man, you're a real person. You're not like you've been on a podcast.
Yeah, and Chip, I think that's a big part of it. 944 is saying, hey, they take their pants down to go to the bathroom too. It's not so much,
No.
the celebrity aspect of it. It's so much that, when you get to, the CEOs of these groups, their schedule coming to a conference like that is packed tight, meeting after meeting after meeting. And that's typically how it is. I've been to a lot of big conferences. I've been in that position where you just have so many meetings. And my point and your point, when you get to meet somebody in person, because I do this and I've traveled, all over the world to be at major conferences all over the world, and you finally get to meet someone face to face, and you take that 5 or 10 minutes, even if it's in passing, and it's just, to me, it's outstanding. I just love that possibility, to seeing people in person, for the first time. So I just thought, even if there were a lot of Bitcoin maxis running around, I think there was a lot of energy going on, just tons and tons of energy, on the streets over there.
Yeah, and I say the thing is, it was so hot. Like, and Annie says, Annie, she goes, I thought of turning up with the Ripple Strikes Back shirt, but the thing would go well. Yeah, I don't know if you were there, Annie, too, but it was something of it was the wrong venue. Jeff and I both live down here and have lived down here many years. I've been down here 30 plus years, and I got to tell you, out of all the venues, this isn't the venue. It's not the right venue. It doesn't spotlight the best part of Miami. There's other parts and pockets of places to have it in Miami or in the Miami area. Even though Wynwood's an up and coming area, first of all, it's also the up and coming part tells you a lot about the part that's not up and coming, right? And Annie knows exactly what we're talking about. She lives in Miami. And I just thought, if you want to have something like this, a soiree like this, man, have it on South Beach. Have it at the convention center. It's like a block away from Lincoln Road. You have it there. There's all the good restaurants, all the places to have places to go hang out and do stuff. There's other places you could have had it as well. And a lot of the stuff was outside. It was hot, and the food trucks, and it was like, it was like 90 degrees when Jeff and I are walking around, beating sun, nowhere to get out of the sun. I mean, you walk into you go in and watch somebody speak. Those were inside the actual festival. But I mean, come on. I mean, the whole thing was just kind of and a lot of people were just so rude. I mean, the garbage, Jeff, I've never seen, you've gone to so many conferences. I've been to conferences all over. Have you ever, we were looking at the amount of garbage. It was like, what the difference I liken it to? A concert festival, right? Like one of these big festivals. It was nothing like a big, like a crypto. I think of people as like, hey, let me find a trash can. There's not one. Let me put this in the right spot. Litter everywhere, garbage. I mean, I'm like,
that's that area. That's that area.
No, but a lot of it was right at the exit and the entrance of the back entrance had all that garbage too.
Yeah. So I've been to conferences in Mumbai, in India, and one of the conferences that we went to, getting there was interesting. If you've been anywhere around India, and I'll tell you what, the conference over there, they had a red carpet, rolling into this place from the moment you got out of the taxi at the bottom of the hill to the moment you got up to where the conference centers were. And I swear, everything was a dirt floor before they put everything down in this area in India. And they had red carpets, and it was a whole different environment. We didn't go inside the major venue because we were really focused Friday to go, see this Alex Mashinsky, private event. And I don't know what was going on inside. I'm sure inside was really nice. I've never been in there, so I'm not going to take anything away from it. But overall, I thought, you ran into what's his name, Tone Loc or Tone Vay. Tone Vay, yeah. So that was kind of cool. That was cool for you, because.
Well, here's what's funny is so I see him, I recognize him instantly, right? I recognize him, which there's thousands of people. There are 15,000 people at this soiree. I heard all kinds of crazy numbers. I think it was 12 to 15,000. And I snap a picture of, I sent him to my buddy because he knows him really well. He's my buddy who got me into crypto, is a BTC maxi. And I'm like, hey, here's your buddy Tony. He goes over and I said hi. So I go over to him and said, hey, my buddy blank. He goes, yeah. He goes, oh, hell yeah. And I'm like, look. I go, he goes, you tell him we said hello. I go, let's get a picture, man. Let's send him a picture. And he was hanging out a little bit, talking, in a really good mood. Of course, see, if I would have had that Ripple shirt on, probably wouldn't have gone so well, Jeff, because he hates Ripple. He puts it down every chance. But we weren't there. We were there with, and a lot of people like, oh my God, I can't believe you got a picture with him. Look, the guy's a legend. He has his own way of thinking. But look, I'm not going to put everything down. It might be things I disagree with what he says, but you're perpetuating exactly what you don't want. If you don't want this to be tribalism, don't be a tribalist. Don't sit there and say, yeah, am I going to go up and recognize him? Hey, Tone, how you doing? Shake his hand. How you doing? Nice to meet you. Take a picture, a little jibber jabber back and forth. I'm not going to be a jerk about it. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to post this all over and say you're an idiot. No, I said, I got it. And I even put it on social. I said, got a picture with the legend. And everyone was like, with these comments,
Yep. Oh, hey, you know what? When we were there, it was really cool because we got this, there was this guy singing, and he was, man, you guys are going to know him. And he was up there on stage singing. We got this little short clip of him. Let me play it real quick. Hang on a second.
Wie einst Lily Marlin. Wie einst Lily Marlin.
That was awesome.
Oh my good Lord.
No, nobody would have even have guessed it, but
no one would have guessed.
John.
I was like, Sir John was there. Sir John was there. It was amazing. Well, very nice, Sir John. Yeah, but all in all, I got to tell you, the event was really well handled. Here's just something funny. It's like, it's such a small world. Jeff and I kind of get in there. We kind of got down there earlier than we expected at the event. We started talking to a guy, and he started talking about digital assets. What are you into? And he starts talking about, I go, so where are you from? Where did you come in from? He's like, he talks to a little town in Texas. I go, I was there 2 weeks ago. It's in the middle of nowhere. I go, I was at a wedding. There's a lot of wedding. He goes, there aren't a lot of wedding venues there. And I was like, I was there 2 weeks ago for my nephew's wedding. He's like, wow, that's such a weird thing. And then the other thing was, we were watching, a couple people got up on stage. Alex has some really nice guests, and Jeff and I were mulling around talking to people. Got a picture with Alex, hanging out a little bit. They had a little ice cream bar there, which was different, right? But it had like these really healthy, like one of these lime bars. We're sitting there, and a guy comes up and he says, "Yeah, I love your show, man. It's really cool." A couple people came up to us that day and made some nice comments like, last time you had Alex on, that was really cool, or I like what you guys are doing. So that was kind of cool because it kind of took me and Jeff by a little bit by surprise, because we're there to hang out, to go, talk with with Alex and see what he was up to. And I do have I'm trying to find my cell token, Jeff. He gave us all cell tokens, and
I was going to bring it out here. I left it in the other room.
Yeah, he gave us a hat. We got a little bit of a little bit of stuff. But anyway, it was good just to be down there with some energy. Unfortunately, it was 90 degrees with 89% humidity, and nowhere to get out of that. But we just hung out
close to about 1,000. But
one of my the coffee shops I do like down there, and I need you all to correct me on there. It's something about Joe and the Juice, I think it's called, and that's pretty decent.
Man, the sandwiches there were really good. No, it was a great place.
Yeah, I like that place.
I can't believe it. That was my first time down in Wynwood. I'd never been down there before, so interesting stuff.
You're a little too posh for that, Jeff. That's not your crowd, man. You're a little too gentrified for that crowd, I think. I mean, I don't know. Just saying.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
It was really interesting. I'll tell you what got me about it. It was it was an urban area that was more reminiscent of something in Detroit than in Miami. It just, I don't know, the vibe there, and I get it. People are trying to capture a little bit of the urban decay and, kind of, make it something like an area of Chicago or New York or Detroit. And that's kind of what I felt. I felt like we were going to go outside and it was going to be cold and snowing and we should put our jackets on. And that's kind of that environment, so it's a little out of sorts being in Miami, but it's, it's a cool place, I guess, for people to come and check out. They want to see spray paint and graffiti all over the place and the walls and how they kind of put that artistic spin to it.
Yeah, so graffiti everywhere, but good graffiti, not the kind you're thinking of, like really sweet, good tagger stuff. Not
so. Hey, Chip. So the biggest question, and I kept trying to figure this out, man, when flare?
Well, according to the announcement, they came out and said they are looking at a June-July timeframe. They're not going to put an exact date because they said if it's not ready to go, it's not tested, they're not going to release something that's not ready. Their time frame is June, July. That's what they've announced. But you hear a lot of crazy stuff going on the internet about when they're actually gonna, be, and people are setting dates, and these pop-up channels are coming up. Because I sat to a channel yesterday. I'm like, who? Right? It was like text the video, like where they go, hi, and XRP will be $100, and all this incorrect information and FUD and everything. And I'm like, they got 80,000 followers and no one's ever heard of them before. Okay. I'm like, who are these people? And they put together these clever little videos, and all wrong of most of it, of course. But it's anytime somebody can capitalize on something, they're pretty much going to capitalize on it. Yeah, I wanted to play this clip while we're while we're getting going here. But this is another thing from. Let me tee this puppy up. Yeah, there's two things that I want to play from the conference itself. There's a lot of cool stuff that happened. Like, what was really good, Jeff, that I watched, which was the Senator Loomis and Warren Davidson. That was a really decent, well done. I really enjoyed that one. I watched a whole bunch of them, but I thought that was the best. Here, let me think. I forgot. Bitcoin toxicity. Here we go. Okay, so this is something that Crypto Eddie posted. It's about Bitcoin toxicity. So I want you guys to listen to this. If you haven't heard it, I want to hear some of your feedback in the comments there. It's important. I think it's absolutely necessary. Wait a minute. Why did we lose the sound? There we go. Sorry about that.
Getting low.
Hang on.
Not only do I think Bitcoin toxicity is important, I think it's absolutely necessary. And if you're against Bitcoin toxicity, you're against Bitcoin. And if you're against Bitcoin, you're against freedom. Period.
Did you hear that, Jeff? So Bitcoin toxicity is very necessary. And if you're against Bitcoin toxicity, you're against Bitcoin. If you're against Bitcoin, you're against freedom.
Yeah. So what is his definition of Bitcoin toxicity? That's what I'm trying to get out. There's got to be something else that was going on in that conversation. Where did Bitcoin toxicity come from?
Well, the thing is, I didn't watch the whole event, but the point of it is that, I mean, just on its face right there, I wanted to say this because then Bully shared that he shared a comment saying Bitcoin toxicity is super important. This cult needs to be destroyed. And then John Deaton had this statement right here where he said, John Deaton said, he goes, I served 7 years in the United States Marine Corps. I know something about the cost of freedom, and having learned how young men died 77 years ago today on D-Day. You claim Bitcoin toxicity is necessary, and if I'm against the toxicity, I'm against freedom. As a Bitcoin holder and Marine, let me say, go F yourself, you moron. And I thought, whoa, man, it got heated today on Twitter. A little bit heated, but I was like, what?
There was a lot of heat today on Twitter.
There was a lot of heat going on today on Twitter, man. There's a lot of stuff going on. And, it was interesting. It's cool to see that, I was hanging out with my parents earlier, and my dad's like, yeah, he goes, I was watching some of the news, and it was all over that. Bitcoin conference was all over that. It was pretty interesting. Now, I'll tell you a funny story, Jeff. This is weird, right? So I wanted to talk about Flare today. I wanted to talk about Flare, and one of the things we want to talk about is if the Spark token, your deadline's coming up on June 11th to claim it, right? So I took that, I put it in the Keep. That's the place where Jeff and I have all the notes for the show we do. I put it in there. I hit, I go in there, I just paste it, and I go to something else. I get a text from my dad. He goes, tell me more about this June 11th date for claiming the Spark token for XRP holders. And I'm going, dude, that freaked me out so much. I'm like, wait a minute, did I paste that into the Keep? Am I losing my mind? Or did I just send that text to my dad by mistake? And I looked, nope. So I talked to him about it tonight. And he goes, no, I saw it on the news. I'm like, what news? He goes, no, they were talking about XRP. I can remember my dad's 79 years old, right? He's really on top of stuff. But he's like, it was on the news. I go, what news? Did you record that? He's like, no, I didn't record it, but they were talking about XRP and Bitcoin. They're talking about Flare. So I don't know if he was actually watching a video or what he was watching. He said it was on a news channel. He said he thought it was like OAN or one of those. And I thought, wow, I mean, if it's getting that kind of coverage, I'd love to know more about it. But still, the synchronicity of those two events happening within a split second of each other, I want to let everyone know that it is June 11th. That means if you had XRP on a cold storage wallet
on your
prior
to
the December
that's the
12th.
last date. That's the last date. That's it.
And
so you have a couple
wait.
more days. Couple more
days. That's it.
And then that's it. And once you miss that, I think they're burning all the Spark token that would have been connected to that XRP is going to be burned. I believe that's what they had said.
I think they're going to.
I'm trying to look that up and see if that's still the case. But man, I'll tell you, stuff like that, it's kind of weird, right? So on Friday, as we were walking back to the car, after we had met Kuris, we were talking about the website and what we need to do to kind of tweak the website. And I said, hey, I bet a buddy of mine that I know that's kind of in that business, I'm sure, if we asked him to do it, he could do something for us, reasonably and do something really well. And as soon, it wasn't even like 5 seconds after I brought that up, my phone started ringing. As we're talking, I pick up the phone and it was my buddy on the phone. And it was just very, very strange.
But that's the kind of day it was on Friday, Jeff.
It was. Everything kept stacking up one thing after another like that. That was really interesting. So Chip, so the end, let's put a rest to this. When Flare is going to launch when Flare launches. How about that?
It is. That's it.
Like that?
That's it, Jeff. That's the reality, right? June, July, maybe it's August. That's the reality.
They're on Flare time schedule, right? When they decide it's appropriate for them to start the airdrop and launch their project, that's when they're going to do it. Not before, not after. So anybody else that's out there with their dates, and the one thing that we knew is that it was going to be at some point in Q2 or Q3.
Yeah,
right.
And the closest they've come to identifying it's June, July is the time frame. They want to make sure it's on. And would you want anything different? You don't commit to a time frame and then have to back off that time frame. Look, they've been working on this for 2 years. They've been working on it. This isn't something they just threw together overnight and launched it as a meme coin. They named it like Cat Coin or Yeti Coin or something. No, this has been in the works for 2+ years. And there's a lot of time, effort, and thought going into developing this. They're gonna roll it out the right way. They're gonna make sure it's right. They're not gonna be rolling out some half-assed. I can say that here, right, Jeff? Can I say that half-assed thing? Yeah,
half-assed.
That's exactly it. Half-assed. They don't want to half-ass it. Did I say that?
Oh, they definitely don't want to. At the end of the claim period, all unclaimed Spark tokens will be burned. That's on the docs.xrp toolkit. .claim under claim Spark tokens. So that's the XRP ledger snapshot, which was December 12th. And then you have until the 11th to get it off your cold storage wallet, like your ledger. And anything unclaimed after the 11th is going to be burned. It's going to be interesting to see what number of Spark token will be burned, because we already know there's a number, whatever that number might be of XRP that's already lost. For all times. Now I'm wondering what happened to the 20 XRP that's stuck in all these wallets.
I don't know, Jeff. What do you do with it?
Assuming, I guess you can claim it. Well, I guess you claim it if you claimed it, if it's an abandoned wallet. So I guess they'll still match your thing, right?
Right, but you can get it out. Remember, you could burn that 5 and get it out. 5 XRP.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's a way to do it.
Yeah, there's a way to do it now. So yeah, there is that. So I mean, it's not like it's all for loss. And I want to throw this up here. XRP Sweden, thank you for that. It says nobody wants a broken token. I like that. It rhymes. A broken token, Jeff. Give it the time it needs. And that's exactly right, Sweden. It's like, you have to give it the time it needs. And again, if this was something they were trying to rush to production, okay. But when you have a serious project, you kind of want to, if you say you're going to release in third quarter or second or third, you kind of start narrowing the dates, but June, July, if it's ready. And I think that's fair. And you know what? Yep. You know why it's even fairer? Because it's free, man. You're getting a 1-to-1, a little over 1-to-1. It's like 1.00. So yeah, nobody wants a broken token. Jeff, that might be shirt material right there, buddy.
I like it. Let's do it. XRP. How about Flare? Nobody wants a broken token. XRP Flare. Nobody wants a broken token. We'll just do the XRP logo, the Flare logo. Nobody wants a broken token. I don't know if that'll come over though. That could be misinterpreted. So
yeah, it may not, but I want to show this. So Hugo Filion.
Before you do that, let me just bring this up because it's on point. But Robert's bringing up wasn't Uphold and Bitrue auto claim pretty much any exchange that you were on, there was a participating exchange like Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance US, I believe, Uphold. They were all part of the program. So as long as you had XRP on the platform, on the exchange as of December 12th, and you were there for the snapshot, then you will get the Spark token based off of that. And Celsius was also one of them. So I think Sir John was saying, how do you even know if you have tokens that are claimed? Because that's a great question. They kind of just disappear. You just, you have to make that assumption that where your snapshot was taken and when you had those assets. Now, there is one open category, and those are people in New York that were on Coinbase, and there was this tiny fine print somewhere that said if you held it on Coinbase and you're in New York, that you're not getting the airdrop, I believe. And I don't know if that got resolved or not. There's a lot of pending issues in New York.
Well, New York has a lot of rules. They got regulations they got to follow. So no, that, again, it wasn't in your face like, hey, you're not going to qualify. And all you had to do in that scenario was move it to a cold storage wallet, right? Move it to a ledger before the snapshot. But I want to let everybody know, don't waste any time. Do it tonight, do it tomorrow morning, because why would you not take the chance to, or take the opportunity to actually get some Spark tokens, right? So if you have a cold storage wallet, you had XRP on that prior to that December 12th snapshot, you can do it. There you go too. Yep. XRP scan.
There you go.
That's another way to do it. I wanted to throw this tweet up, Jeff, because it's timely in this argument here. So Hugo Filion, who is the CEO founder of Flare, said, maybe only the weird and wackies propagating across social media, but watching the hubris and idiocy evident at Miami Beach or the Miami Bitcoin 2021 from afar makes me sick to my stomach. In reality, much of the industry is composed of thoughtful, decent people who want to build something excellent. And, that's kind of the sad thing. I feel bad too. This being our hometown, we kind of saw some of that too. And, it's not, especially when you had Mayor Suarez, who was one of the keynote speakers there. That's the mayor of Miami, who's been very instrumental in bringing fintech companies and really being a mouthpiece and speaker for digital assets, as also the mayor of Tampa, Mary Castor, who's also doing the same thing. And I got to tell you, man, she's a delight. She's a pistol. She gets up there on stage and says, we won the Super Bowl. What did she say? She goes, Tampa's awesome. We're the greatest place to move. We won the Super Bowl. We won the Stanley Cup, and we're going to win the pennant this year. And guess what? We're going to win the Stanley Cup again, and we're also going to win the Super Bowl again. So I loved her. I loved her fire. She was really accomplished. She was the first woman chief of police or commissioner. She just and then she's changed. She's just really on, and that was evident watching her up on stage when she was there. And then of course I want to play this one too. This is not play it, but let's look at this one here. So this kind of caught my attention today. We had Digital Asset Investor came out and said, when Flare networks. And that's kind of what Jeff and I started. And we started seeing all this weird stuff all over the place. Crypto Eddie, who we love, she said, oh my God, seriously? Hang on a second. Let me do this. She said, I'm losing my patience. First, you didn't show up at last year's Swell invite. At start, you said you didn't trust Flare, and now you don't follow any developments, and then you call yourself an XRP supporter. I know people will be angry with this tweet, but I have my limits, right? So look, she's just calling it as she sees it, because when Flare, and it's kind of like sometimes there's a little hypocrisy that needs to be called out. So she was kind of looking.
Yeah, man, come on. What, he's losing his patience?
I don't know. The whole thing. She's losing her patience. I can tell you, because he's done stuff out there, and she's also invited him, been very cordial to him. Say, hey, we have differences. Let's air them out. Completely ignored her. You got one of the smartest minds in the space. She's a great researcher. She does her homework, man. And if she ever does, I don't think if she's ever misspoke, she comes out and says, hey, I misspoke about something, and she corrects it. So to sit there and blow her off and ignore her and then say a lot of stuff out there, sometimes look, a little bit of this is necessary in the space. Sometimes you disagree with somebody. Just say hey, man, I disagree with you. she's looking just like come back with something, go talk it out. She's not trying to dog somebody. She's doing it in a way that says like, hey, you said you didn't trust Flair, and look at how many people will listen to that and they go like, oh, you don't trust Flair. Maybe some people didn't get they didn't get the drop because of that. I don't know. But again, you have, when you have a big reach like that, you have a responsibility.
You
And
have a responsibility, Chip. And, did he breach it? Is he being impatient? Is he just trying to, spark up some controversy for conversation? But where is this follow up to that? Hey, when Flair Network, any ats them, on Twitter, like, what the heck's going on? Why aren't you guys fulfilling your obligation? Instead, this guy, is supposed to, be, a big, ex financial guy, and knows how these types of things roll out, knows how these types of things work. Even without that, being in the space and watching project after project roll out, you should know that it's going to roll out when it rolls out on its time schedule. They're not hiding anything, that we can see. They're not covering anything up that we can see. Everything on their end has been transparent. It's a major undertaking. I think, Chip, and we've talked about this so many times, Flair is a game changer with everything that they're doing, because you get to the real world aspect of it. You get to the business part of it. It's all about the smart contracts. It's all about being a bit agnostic. It's all about being able to work within or outside of any handcuffed confines like Ethereum, where you can only work with Ethereum, and so here they broke out of that mold, and, and now they're doing something. So, hey, wait, sit back and wait. Why not say, hey, we're super excited, Flair Network. When is this thing launching? Can you give us a little bit, give us something, give us a rumor, give us something to work with here. When Flair, come on. I mean, that's just, I don't know. I see where she's coming from.
I think I prefer to see Wen Moon a little bit more, but I got to tell you though, there's a lot of positivity happening in the space. When we talk about freedom, decentralization, we talk about what that means to everybody. Everybody here, but beyond who's here watching this right now, there really is a push to move to decentralization. I mean, you start thinking about, especially El Salvador. El Salvador made a big move.
Oh, did you see that?
Yeah. So I was trying to find I was listening to the president. He actually gave a speech in English, and which I could understand, and I understand a little Spanish, right? So he basically said that, look, we believe that there's ideas, and ideas can be built upon. And I'm paraphrasing. And he said that we believe that ideas is, cryptocurrency, and we're gonna make a move. He's sending it to Congress. Congress has done it. They're gonna make legal tender. Bitcoin is gonna become legal tender in El Salvador. This is a huge move, and there's a kind of a sister story to this. But Jeff, what do you think about that on its just on its head on that part of it?
On what's going on over in El Salvador?
Yeah, I mean, El Salvador, you got Nayib Bukele, I think his name is. Yeah, the first to embrace Bitcoin as legal tender. Yep. This is massive.
I think that, and we've seen, Chip, we've seen little bits and glimmers of other countries, getting into digital asset. We saw it with Bermuda. We saw it with the Bahamas. You started seeing little tidbits of, what is it going to look like when they start moving in that direction? For El Salvador to do that and legitimize it as a currency is a movement in the right direction, and it fits perfectly into the narrative that we keep talking about, that there's developing countries out there that are going to get it. And when they get it, they're going to get it big, because they understand, or at least they are beginning to understand, because they're seeing the vision of what the digital asset space and the blockchain space will mean for them economically as we move into the next phase of our financial infrastructure. Now, if you get, people within the US administration that don't get it, to their own folly, and you get the president of El Salvador does get it to his own benefit, hey, good for him. and they're going to go far. And it's just, I believe, Chip, it's just the beginning with Bitcoin. They're doing it again. First mover advantage, name recognition.
Right.
That's what everyone's talking about. That's what they're going to start with. And then the sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit. And also too, what are they really doing? They're getting away from central banks, right? The central bank, this whole system built on debt, right? You borrow a dollar, now you got to pay the dollar plus that. So you got to borrow another dollar. And then you never have any real sovereignty because you do not own your own currency. Now you've got this big cartel of central bankers that now that you're in like servitude, indebted, forever. And this move by El Salvador is fantastic. Look, you got a young, bright president who's more connected. He's not a 75-year-old guy. I'm not nothing around about, but I'm just saying he's young. He gets it. But here's a weird story, Jeff. This is, after looking at that story, I saw this and I thought, are these two stories connected somehow? I saw this. The U.S. targets Central America officials for possible sanctions over corruption. Uh-oh. Well, what is that? Oh, well, look at that, Jeff. Look who's on that list. El Salvador. Oh, my goodness. So Biden administration plans to... What's that?
Right? There you go.
Right? I'm thinking, so... Yeah, plans to release by the end of June a list of corrupt Central American officials who may be turning to Bitcoin. No, they don't say that. By subject to sanctions, a U.S. special envoy told Reuters, as Washington seeks to cut back on a root cause of increased migration. That's what they're saying, right? That's what they're saying. Ricardo Zuniga, President Joe Biden's point man for Central America's Northern Triangle countries of Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, also said the administration was considering further sanctions against officials in the region for alleged graft under the Global Magnitsky Act. Jeff, this sounds like a smokescreen to me. Like they must have got some advance word of this. And
I'm sure this has been going. It's been going on for a while. I mean, they know the governments know. They know the trend of what's going on. From the at least the atmosphere within this new administration. They sense what's going to happen over there. Now, for good or bad, they're singling out, there are certain countries down that, and there's a huge amount of corruption. What I find amazing is that, this guy that's in office right now leading this administration, under a previous administration, ignored Hugo Chavez when he had a corrupt election and they stole the election down in Venezuela, ignored it, had an opportunity to step up to the plate and take the right action, and they chose to ignore it. And then we saw the exact outcome. We know that you've seen what happened in Venezuela. So now they're going to go out and single out those countries. Why are they picking and choosing? If you want to go after corruption, do some soul searching. Look within your own, or, if you want to look around, why not Mexico? What's wrong with the corruption in Mexico? It's not good enough for them. They don't want to touch the corruption in Mexico. They just want to touch Guatemala and Honduras and El Salvador. They don't want to look at the corruption in Venezuela. How about the corruption in Cuba? Why not look there? Why not the corruption in Haiti? Why not the corruption? I mean, anywhere you want to look, there's corruption all over. Why are they singling out those countries in particular?
Well, the previous administration also had an agreement with all three of those countries, right? That said, look, keep the people in your country or whatever, right? Remain in the country, right? So they gave that up, and it was kind of let's work with us so we can do the funding. Now, what they're saying here is the U.S. officials see corruption as one of the main drivers for the flow of migrants along with poverty. Well, I think poverty, gang violence, the fallout from hurricanes, they want to make sure $4 billion aid package put together for the region does not fall to the grass. Is that what they're really worried about? Because it doesn't sound like that to me. It sounds like they're going to try to take out. There must be other stuff going on in those countries, right? But I see El Salvador and I go like, okay, that makes sense. What a timely story, Jeff.
It is timely. And I'm looking, the expectation of economic growth for their GDP in 2021, the expectation was to be around 4.9%. They were looking at growth, the GDP growth rate, which is in 2019, which was 2.3%, and they exceeded. Let's see, that was 2019. Where did 2020 go? So it said here the pandemic. Then they expected it to contract by 8.7% in 2020, but then they expect it to grow by 4.9% in 2021. So there's, and this is around the world, because the U.S. growth rate for the GDP in 2020 was on target for around 4%, and et cetera. So look, there's something else going on. I mean, they're trying to do what they can do within their own country. There's a lot going on. Yeah, I think there's more than what we're seeing. Let's put it that way. There's a lot more than what we're seeing here.
Yeah, that article goes on to say that in El Salvador, they want to potentially remove the attorney general for corruption. So wait a minute, you're going to go into a sovereign country and you're going to remove the attorney general. You're going to then start shaking down other governments to do stuff. I mean, we've seen a lot of that go unnoticed, but come on. I mean, why do you think the oil, when they went and made that deal in 1971 and went to the Saudi Arabia and said, hey, how about you only sell your oil with the USD, right? And they're like, yeah, okay, that's cool, until it wasn't cool anymore. And then if you were in that region and you didn't agree with that and you wanted to sell it in your own fiat, for your own fiat currency, or you wanted gold for that, what did they do? No, the regime changed, right? All of a sudden there was a new regime coming in. There was some kind of a war or some kind of a conflict. You disagree with the government, and you were ousted. And so I want to remain on the topic of Miami, because it's interesting, Jeff. Last week we talked about a company moving from New York to Miami. This week we hear another story, which is phenomenal. Another cryptocurrency exchange, the world's second largest, announces a move to Miami. Boom. So yeah. Mayor Suarez basically talked. The other day he was basically talking about why Miami's become this like hub. And one of the things that we talked about with Mayor Castor is we said, what's missing is legislation. Let's get legislation passed. I love that you guys are doing this. The other big move was announced at the meet and greet, the little get together that we were at the other day, was that another big organization, Celsius.network, is opening an office in Tampa. They're going to be hiring 300 people in Tampa. So there you got a little friendly competition. Tampa, Miami, northern part, western part of the state, southern part of the state. And so less than 48 hours after one exchange announced to move its U.S. headquarters to Miami, eToro, the world's second largest exchange by number of weekly visitors, announced that it started scouting office space for a 50-person U.S. hub that'll share duties with its current location in Hoboken. So it sounds to me what they're saying, Jeff, is once they establish it, they close the Hoboken office, right?
You got to get out of New Jersey, get out of New York, come down to where it's a little bit more crypto friendly, a little bit more business friendly, a little bit more people friendly. This is the place to be. Unfortunately, it's also very crowded. So I get it. Bring some of the big business down to Miami, Tampa, as we heard from Mayor Castor. There's a lot going on over in Tampa as well. There's a lot of big business moving there. You're going to see some things happening in Florida that people have never really seen before. And so California, the fleecing of the people through taxation and overzealous regulation. Same thing in New York, is pushing people out of those states. And many of them are going to, southern states like Texas, or they're coming down to places like Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Atlanta. I think people are skipping over Atlanta now, and they're coming straight down to Miami. So the numbers are staggering. It's around 3,000 people a day are moving down into South Florida.
Yeah,
it might be Florida in general, but
the traffic is. Yeah. The traffic's picking up. So Guy Hirsch, U.S. Managing Director for eToro, said the move was motivated by the volume of players in both traditional finance and cryptocurrency who are now flocking to Miami, as well as the push by Mayor Suarez to make Miami a tech hub. And now it's already been a tech hub. There's some good accelerators down here. And it's been a little bit of a tech hub, but I think really that this kind of like misplaced. It really should be a fintech hub, or blockchain type of a hub. But this is good stuff, and you get to see where if you have better policy around taxation too, because one of the things people don't realize is that there's no state income tax here. The state doesn't take anything. Everything's fueled by tourism. Now, if you live in Manhattan, you can pay anywhere between 9 and 11% on top of your federal taxes. So you pay your state tax of 9 to 11%, your federal taxes, which can be upwards of 25 to 30 some percent, right? So basically half your paycheck's gone. And there's also, depending on where you live in the city and which borough you live in, could be even more. Like if you live in Manhattan, for example, it's extraordinarily high. And so you just kind of see that, it turns out not only that, but corporations, they want to have a better life for people. It's a little bit, still the cost of living is a little bit better down here. It's kind of skyrocketed over the last couple of years. But look, you can still find decent, affordable homes. In my neighborhood, I had 2 people from New York. They sold their home in New York, which didn't look like the one they just bought here. And they went down, they sold that. They came down here, they bought a house. They were super excited about it. There's a neighbor right across the street here that bought came down from New York, got tired of it. But I want to live in Florida. Tired of this lifestyle. So yeah, it's pretty interesting, Jeff, to see what's transpiring. And so what really, bringing it down to it, decentralization equals freedom. DeFi equals freedom, right? It's all part of that, because the DeFi.
You're first.
I mean, I was trying to explain decentralized finance to my dad. So the best way I could do that is explain it to him is that imagine what the banks do, right? Banks have all this institutional lending behind the scenes. They all lend each other money. They do all this stuff. Basically, they're making all the yield on lending and all this other stuff. I said, you kind of we're bringing that back to the individual where you get to be the bank. There are no more banks. Your bank is on your phone. And he goes, sounds complicated. I go, in some instances it is. So I was trying to explain why he wouldn't get the Spark token because, for some of the reasons we talked about already, why he didn't get it. But, these are some of the things that he wanted to sort of understand exactly why, because, he's an XRP holder and some other stuff as well. But he wanted to know. And it's like, I love it, the fact that he wants to know. He's thinking about stuff like that. I know your dad's into crypto too, right? If I remember correctly.
My dad, he is.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah. I was just pulling something up kind of along all these conversational lines here. As we're starting to see more and more investment going into this space and more, mainstream adoption into the space. And, one of the keys is that, one of the things they keep singling out with Bitcoin is the fact that it's not eco-friendly. And I find it interesting because, we've also talked about what Elon Musk has been up to, what he says, how he's potentially manipulating the digital assets, the currencies, whether it's Dogecoin or Bitcoin, or now he tweeted something about Rocket, and that one is blowing up. It's kind of crazy. But one thing, Chip, I brought this up yesterday, and it kind of fits in to this total narrative, because I believe if you're in the innovative space where you're changing the way things get done. So we want to look at Miami, being the fintech capital of the world potentially. Right. You have all these digital assets here, all this focus though on Bitcoin not being green, and all the others with this narrative of having to be green and being woke and all this nonsense. But I look at Elon Musk with his tantrums and all this stuff. This guy, he's the one that was making solar powered roof panels. He's the one making an electric vehicle. He's the one throwing rockets into space. Why isn't he figuring out how to build solar powered mining rigs and mining facilities? But who did? Square. Not that they figured it out yet, but they're investing $5 million to build solar powered Bitcoin mining facilities.
There you go.
Facility. Now, I get it. Look at this. It will be a partnership with blockchain tech firm Blockstream Mining. Hey, you know what? All this, over regulation, even if it's from corporate overzealousness, coming out of Ripple, and we've said that multiple times. Don't talk about it. This is, because at some point, if it boils down to it, at some point, you're going to have somebody like Square. Not sure what happened to Chip. Somebody like Square that's going to get it, and the private market is now going to look at Bitcoin and say, hey, we're going to now invest money into Bitcoin mining, and we're going to figure out a way to make it better. You don't need, over government regulation. You don't need all the wokeness and all these woke bots and woke zombies all over the place, talking about green energy and, wanting to live in their, their cush, kind of, la la land, but here's Square, they're doing it the right way. That's exactly how it gets done.
Yeah, let me interject. So here's what's interesting about the whole thing about the push for green, and the world's going to collapse, and the oceans are going to rise. We're all going to be swallowed up. Okay, so when your first plan doesn't go right, and all of a sudden you locked everyone in their houses, which should have been for 3 or 5 years, it turned out to not quite make it a little bit past a year, and all this other stuff. Well, then your next plan of attack is, you know what? I think what we have to think about now is because what I'm concerned about, why are central banks why are they going on and on about this whole green stuff? Why are they perpetuating this? Oh my gosh, this doom and gloom, spreading this fear. Well, we got to keep fiat alive. We got to buck the trend, and digital assets bad, Bitcoin bad, fiat currency good. I understand, I get that they're trying to do that, but the problem that they're going to run into is more of this right here, Jeff. This is the problem they're going to run into. Boom, Texas governor signs law creating legal framework for crypto investments. The law amends and adapts commercial law to blockchain and digital assets. And
define virtual currencies.
Yeah, so this is Governor Abbott put this out there. I saw his, I don't know if this is his video. Yeah, this is his video right here where he talks about it. It's real short. He just says, look, hey, I just signed a law for Texas to create a master plan for expanding the blockchain industry in Texas. I want it to be in Texas, right? And so what have we seen a lot of recently? We've seen Texas facing off with Florida, right? Governor DeSantis does this, and then Governor Abbott one-ups him, and then they're constantly. So now I expect the one thing that could be the fuel that could make an impact on Florida is this. Why? Because Florida doesn't want to play second fiddle to Texas. And if you want to see some legislation start rolling, I imagine we could probably cue the countdown in 3, 2, 1 before that actually stops happening, because you've got Abbott right here, who comes out of nowhere, says, hey, I signed this thing. We want Texas. We want it to be important. What are your thoughts about this, Jeff? How big is this?
This is huge. We've seen it in Wyoming. We've seen it in Idaho. We've seen some rumblings out in Nevada, in and around this. But this is taking it to a new level. This is taking it to a similar level like what El Salvador is doing. So we see Texas. They also get it. They know we're going to attract the future leaders, economic leaders, and they're going to be in Texas. It's not New York. We've seen what the New York, money can do. It corrupts somehow, right? Absolute power will corrupt absolutely. They all have this mindset of absolute power, and these banks have paraded around like they have all power over everybody. And so now this new generation, just like we heard Alex Mashinsky talk about on our show, there's going to be new leaders in this new financial asset class. We're entering a new world, a new phase of finances. And so Texas is positioning themselves just like El Salvador is positioning themselves, just like other countries around the world are positioning themselves. States here need to position themselves when the federal government isn't. They got to take a stand. Miami, as a city, Tampa as a city. Hopefully we'll see that from the state of Florida, but I agree with you 100%. Texas, Florida, Texas, Florida, Texas, Florida. We're going to see Arizona before long come into it. We'll probably see Georgia, pop up somewhere, but Texas and Florida is where it's all about right now. I believe that's where you're going to get a lot of brain drain in California and New York. coming down to Texas and Florida to our benefit. As long as they check their politics at the border, they're welcome here.
Yeah. Well, well, the thing is, and this is what we talked with Mayor Castor. He said, like, all this is great. I'm so happy to hear you talking about this, to see exchanges moving down here, to see, Nuke Goldstein, who's the co-founder of Celsius.network. He chose Tampa. He kind of like said, hey, I think Florida is going to be a new home base for us. He moved down there. He looked at a bunch of different places. He connected with Tampa, and he said, I mean, Jeff and I are a little bit prone down here, but Tampa has a lot to offer. But what's happening with Mayor Castor, Mayor Suarez, I love that. But you know what? They're going to be cut off at the knees if we don't have the legislation to back it up. We don't have crypto-friendly legislation like what Wyoming has, or now Texas is like, we're doing it tomorrow. We'll do it right now.
That's right. No, I agree. I think we're seeing the change. We're seeing the evolution of the states taking back their power as well. And so that in the U.S., that is phenomenal. We heard a lot about that. What are the states' rights? Overall, from as far as the U.S. is concerned, where does each state fall? What are they responsible for? What powers do they have that are now being attributed to the federal government that the states need to take back? And this is one of them. Look out for your state's rights for economics. Look out for your people. Make sure that their well-being is being taken care of before the Fed. That's how it has to be. That's why there's states. That's why there's governors. That's why there's mayors. The governor is responsible for the state. The mayor is responsible for the city. And we're broken up into 50 states for that purpose. And it makes a lot of sense to me. And we're starting to see it. That's why Wyoming is so much further ahead right now, and that's why others will be. So
now, Sir John said, would you support my singing channel? I definitely would, because we definitely need new and interesting material for On the Chain. But I like your voice. I think you got a strong voice. I'd love to see you do a singing channel, man. And this made me laugh. Precise Incision said, thank you for the support. He says, I heard Baby Shark Token is revolutionary. Baby Shark Token, please. No, I mean, the Baby Shark Token, who knows, man? I don't know.
I think we're being spammed.
I think we're being spammed, but it's okay. I like the, Baby Shark. You see right there, there's like the moon, the Baby Shark.
I have no idea what Baby Shark Token is.
Oh, you have to have a younger kids, Jeff, to know what Baby Shark is.
Let me
the most annoying. Yeah, look it up and just find a video about Baby Shark, and you will laugh. You will laugh beyond all laughs there, and you have to wonder.
Baby Shark Token. I see Baby Shark now.
You see Baby Shark?
Really funny. Yeah, that's really funny. Oh, let's look at the Baby Shark Token. Let's see. Oh, there is one. What do you know? Baby Shark Token. It is.
Holy
there.
cow, Jeff. I mean, they had Karen's handbag. They had all kinds of weird stuff out there. I mean, they have I just, it's getting out of hand, but that's all right. People find out about crypto because maybe somebody's in a Baby Shark. They buy the Baby Shark token, and then you know what happens? Boom, they buy XRP.
Tina Hall.
Tina Hall with that support. Appreciate that.
That is awesome.
Super sticker. Another OG.
750 million shares sold by the Walton family. Yeah. But point that out. Yeah. Tina Hall, been here for a super long time.
OG.
Great to have you back on. Great to have you here. So man, it looks like we're coming up on that moment in time. But I want to take just a minute, and I wanted to get your reaction on this song that I found. I didn't really find it, but there's a whole bunch of reviews that are circling and around this song. And we'll just play the very beginning of it.
This is one of those things, Jeff. Jeff says, I'm gonna hit you up with like a live reaction thing. I'm like, we're doing live reaction videos now. I mean, so he's like, yeah, let me hit you up with something. So go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff. Lay it on me.
A whole new classification of the On the Chain segment, which is review. Okay, here we go. Let me add this in here, and you might have seen it already. You might not have, but let me go full screen. Ready? Here we go.
Let's see.
Here we go.
If you lie to the government, they'll put you in prison. But when they lie to all of us, it's called being a politician. You think taking guns away will save our kids from the killings? But you're pro-choice, abortion kills way more children. If America's so terrible and racist, it probably isn't safe to encourage immigration. Just saying, all the contradictions are embarrassing.
What do you think?
I love Tom McDonald.
He's great, right? He's a
great rapper, man. He's a great rapper, and I watch a lot of his live streams. He's pretty cool, man.
It's amazing. You know, I hadn't seen this one before, and this one just dropped, and so I went back and I started watching all of them, and man, it's just powerful. And I was watching all the review videos on this. It's super, super powerful.
He's got a cool story, man. He's got a really cool story. I was watching one video where he was talking to another one of my favorite YouTubers, and he had him on. It was really cool, man. It was really fun to see. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Good stuff. I hope we don't get a strike on that, though.
I don't think we will. I don't think so. We might.
Yeah, we could. You might. But anyway, guys, so we really want to thank you. Look, kicking off the week, going in strong. It's going to be just an action-packed week as always. June is going to be something. I'm feeling there's some kind of vibe out there. Sunday night at 8 through Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, we stream. Then Jeff's back on Saturday mornings with his solo gig, because I'm usually off doing stuff and I'm usually listening and just fanboying in the background. So there you go.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this one, Chip. Chip is a level-headed one, and I'm rowdy as hell.
Well, I think you should get that straight. First of all, I'm Chip, and that's Jeff, okay? I'm Chip, that's Jeff. I think you got us mixed up. Jeff is definitely the level-headed one. I might be the rowdy one. Or I think we're a little bit of both. A little bit of country, a little bit of rock and roll, Jeff. I think it could be one of each.
Blends in on each of them, but that
is great. Solid. No one's ever called me level-headed, Jeff. I'll take it all the way.
Level-headed one. I love it. So Dowie Dow threw in a nice little donation. It looks like he's from the UK. What are your predictions for XRP this year? As in, how much will it be worth per unit? Thanks, Matt. We don't really, for the 5. But yeah, thank you very much for that. We appreciate your support. Appreciate you being here with us. Appreciate you taking your late night to be with us, because you guys super late night. We don't typically get into specific predictions, but I think we can talk a little bit tomorrow. We'll get into looking at, we don't look at charts specifically, but we can look at CoinGecko, and we can talk about the development and growth of the space, where things are headed, and then look at it and analyze.
To get into Dowie Dow, though, I mean, thank you for the 5 quid. Appreciate that. Look, the bottom line on this is the future's pretty bright. Why? Because we always talked about when mass adoption will happen. Now you got governments adopting Bitcoin as legal tender. It's happening, and it's happening faster than maybe some of us expected. Look, I can't wait to see Judge Netburn when she gets at this next hearing, because the SEC is actually acting like a bunch of really inexperienced trial attorneys. Listen, we didn't find anything in 2.5 years of discovery. Judge, excuse me, may I make a recommendation? Can we have 60 days? We have another 60 days to look for stuff, and can we? It's getting crazy. But look, this will get wrapped up. This will get put behind us. But look, I just think, we don't do predictions, but there's going to come a time where XRP is going to be going up to the point of where if you missed it, by the time you're able to buy in, it's going to be soaring. So that's why, because we already know it's hit 384. It's going to blow past that. My prediction is within 1 calendar year, it's going to blow past the all-time high.
I think, Chip, as soon as we get beyond this case, things are going to open up in this space like we've never seen them before. But one of the points that we're going to keep talking about and honing in on is regulatory clarity, not the overzealousness of government overreach to try to take and penalize and limit. But we're talking about what's going on in Miami, what's going on in Tampa, what's going on in Texas, what's going on in Wyoming, where they're creating regulatory clarity for the operation of this technology and allowing it to breathe and allow it to grow. It's kind of like a fine wine. Yep. You don't drink it right out of the bottle. You got to pour it let it sit. If you're pouring in your glass, let it sit a minute, you know, put it in a decanter and let it sit, let it oxygenate a little bit to get out the flavors.
Yeah, guys.
Want to do. So
see you on the next one.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.